All right.
Go
Gandhi
ahead.
in his own words. Now, this is his speeches, articles, letters, conversations, and some of the excerpts from the telegraphic exchange between Gandhi and other world leaders, one way or the other. Not that the others replied to him, but what he said. So he, in his own words. So most people who know Gandhi, and they are saying that Gandhi ji, Mahatma ji, he's Purnavatar, and the whole thing. That is hearsay. Somebody wrote a very nice narrative about Gandhi, and people believed it. And this is gullibility. But then there is a perceptual image that Nehru created. He was dead out of the way. So he thought this is one way to use his assassination as a tool to control Hindus. In fact, finish them. That was his motto. And then there are people who have not even heard anything. But because he is Mahatma Gandhi and 2 days are holidays, on his name, and his picture is on the Indian currency. And you see, so narrative, perception, hearsay, that is the sum total of what people know about Gandhi. And a person like me, who has researched everything from regional sources, most of it, all of it almost. And so, to me, if they say that this is what you think, I am not thinking anything. So this last session is about that. So fiction over facts. It is easier for people to believe that, hey, this is what Gandhi said. And okay, and this is what Gandhi said. But then what he said, where he said, how he said, in what context he said. So whose lens should the history be taught? Because he's part of a crucial time span in the history of India, where a lot was happening in a very quick sequence. In fact, there was a turmoil kind of action, reaction, spiraling in many different ways, ripple effects. So it is a very important 100 years in the history of India. And we are not prepared to know how we perceive it, how we know what was he really like. So we are just looking at the lens of Nehru, Congress, and whoever. So my first question to everybody is, whose lens should history be taught? It should be taught through the lens of his own sayings. What can be more clear than what I'm saying? So demystifying his austerity. So once we know what he was doing, where he was going, what was this hoax of austerity was, we would also know that his only goal was to maintain unquestionable leadership in the Congress, and B, to stress Hindu-Muslim unity in order to be Bapu of the entire country. And the third thing was that nonviolence was actually a way of telling Hindus that don't do anything, don't retaliate, nonviolence. So his aura of austerity and his dress and the fasting and the whole 9 yards, that he exploited. He again and again he hinted and he said also in a couple of times and that, you made me Mahatma, now you have to believe what I'm saying is right. And that is in one of his speeches. And at one point he said, Mahatma knows everything and you should follow me. Trust me. So you see, that aura he exploited. His own cowardice to yield ground to Muslims. He never did that. Never once did he condemn them or take the side against their violence, as if that is not violence. Passive militant resistance. Many people have done, PhD on Mahatma Gandhi, and they have taken this topic, PhD thesis, passive militant resistance. What is that? That means, according to me, militant means that you are trying to be aggressive, but you are not going to be taking weapons, and you are going to resist at self-sacrifice. To me, he was not passive. He had a lot of rage inside, and he was extremely aggressive. That was personal aggression, targeting Hindus. And he did not resist anything. He imposed his own. So his sacrifices, that is a fiction. Fasting, it was a hoax and a tactic to blackmail people and leaders. Actually, the last fast that he kept in public view in Birla Palace, after 2 days, he was almost done, you see. And the previous dialogue, why he kept that fast? Because India blocked 55 crore rupees from Pakistan because they had violated the treaties and the boundary line, and therefore they should be punished. And why shouldn't we stop the waters, and why shouldn't we block that money? So Mountbatten went to Gandhi that, it's a matter of conscience. What conscience? Whose conscience? You see, rulers have no conscience, and those who are ruled, their conscience is crushed. So this was really a hoax. At other times when he was fasting, he was in isolation, that I am not allowed to talk and I'm not allowed to appear. So who knows, he was fasting or feasting, let us put it this way. So, but this one was in public view. And Mountbatten said that to Mahatma Gandhi, that only you can persuade Patel and Nehru to release that money. And Gandhi said that I only have one weapon. And this is very important. These are real words. He said, I have only one weapon, that I will go on fast unto death. Isn't that blackmail? That is blackmail. So this is what he said, that I'm going to do the fast unto death. And I'm sure Nehru will yield. And sure enough, Nehru yielded on the third day. Nobody wanted him to kind of, die. So Gandhi, at the same time, he had no knowledge about Vishesh Dharma. The kings or the leaders of political coterie, they have certain duties and certain responsibilities towards their subjects and towards their audiences or whoever is their follower. And that is to be honest, and that is to be following the Rajniti. In English, we would say laying down political philosophy in a scientific way, setting down agenda, and proper implementation, policy implementation. This come in the Rajniti, and shortly it is called also Niti. So the bogi of Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. This is the overview, and each speech will clarify what I was trying to say. On December 26, 1929, he did the boycott of Roundtable Conference, and he also boycotted Simon Commission. And there was procession, Simon Commission, go back. And this is his exact language, you see. And there are going to be several paragraphs. Probably the best thing is to read from the book, or many of these things are in public domain. Nothing is to be gained in the existing circumstances by the Congress being represented at the proposed roundtable conference. You know, nothing is gained. Everything was to be gained. Their stand was to get dominion status, and the Prime Minister had already agreed that we will give it, like we gave to Canada and Australia. And Motilal said that we should agree to that. Whatever comes, let us grab. But no. Instead, he said that I only want complete independence. We are not ready for complete independence. Today also, we are not ready for complete independence. So his directive was to boycott provincial election because that was part of the dominion status, self-rule. Make the Congress policy consistent with the change of the creed. This is what he said. Make the Congress policy consistent with the change of the creed. What creed? In other words, it should appeal to the Muslims. Declare complete boycott of central and provincial legislature. Why should you do that? This is a God-given chance for the Congress to test their wings. Are they ready for self-government or not? And in any case, it would have given them a nice experience. And calls upon congressmen to abstain from participating directly, indirectly in future elections. So, directive to boycott provincial elections. So, these are directives. I mean, not only he said so, he asked them to enforce it. Now comes the year 31. And I'm not, it is a very condensed kind of thing. He suggested dominion status, Gandhi, Puran Samrat. Instead, he took a diversion. You see, when he failed in some kind of agenda, then he, to remain in limelight and in the public eye, he would change his strategy. Suddenly, from nowhere, Salt March came. Okay, and then the first march was to the sea, as I mentioned in earlier sessions, and nothing happened. They went, they made some salt, came back, and the British did nothing, and they did not obstruct him. But after that, he said that they should go and stop the salt factory from making the salt. That was a British government factory. And that was considered a real threat. And he said, let nothing be done in contravention to the authority vested in me. I red light it. Vested in me by the Congress. What does that mean? That he is a dictator and he is given sole responsibility for making every decision. And then he says, but once I'm arrested, the whole responsibility shifts to the Congress. In other words, as long as he lived, it was his word or total silence. Okay. In that salt march to the factory, he said that you are not going to raise even your hand to protect yourself from lathi charge. And many people died. That was a real tragedy. Those were sacrifices. So he sat on the judgment of Shri Ram. One day, they said that, do you have something to say about Ram Navami? I mentioned it before. And this is a long, it is condensed. Of course, it is longer than this. Many times he wondered how Rama slew Vali. It could be called, and how could he be called perfect one? I too come across many such questions. I'm amused What great achievement is there in having slain someone by fair means or foul? What does that mean? If it is by fair means, wars happen. If it is foul means, that means that in war and love, everything is justified. So, what exactly was the meaning of that? Or to have destroyed the 10-headed Ravan, if ever there was one such. Now he's putting it out in the mind that the entire Ramayana probably was not a true story. So, in this modern age, even if a Ravan is born, not with 20 but countless hands, a child standing behind a cannon can, by firing a single ball, send all his arms and heads flying. We would not regard such a child superhuman. In other words, what Ram did was a childish kind of, Superman stunt. We would look upon him as a big monster. I believe that we don't wish to acquire the strength of a super monster. And he applied the similar logic to Shri Krishna. The question arises, when is violence justified? He said. You see, somebody asked, when is the violence justified? If you are talking about Ram and Krishna, that they use violence or exhorted to use violence. Mahatma's answer was never. So, as these speeches. So, this is Gandhi in his own words. He defended bullies and dictators. In war and violence, he defended bullies and dictators. About Nazi killing Jews, he said, a single Jew standing up and refusing to bow to Hitler's decrees might be enough to melt Hitler's heart. He is expecting a heart and a conscience from a dictator, a ruthless one, because he was not himself going to be standing in the front row. So Louis Fisher, his biographer, once asked him, do you mean that the Jews should have committed collective suicide? And Gandhi responded, yes, that would have been heroism. So I can conceive the necessity, you see, of immolation of hundreds, if not thousands, to appease the hunger of dictators. The maxim is that ahimsa is the most efficacious in front of great himsa, violence. Its quality is really tested only in such cases. Sufferers needn't see the result during their lifetime. If I am dead and I suffered, what difference does it make that India would be a better place for other people? You see, these are, I don't know. I mean, in any other circumstance, I would say these are ridiculous kind of spinning up nonsense. But here, the implications are extremely disastrous. And once he advised to Hitler, this is his advice. My friend, will you listen to the person who has deliberately shunned the method of a war and not without considerable success? When was he successful? When was he successful? By shunning the method of war. Muslims did their job, Hindus and Sikhs died, women were raped. Where was the considerable success in all this? So his sermon to the Viceroy of India was the same about the merit of ahimsa. Let them take possession of your beautiful island. If Hitler chooses to occupy your home, vacate them. If he doesn't give you free passage out, allow yourself, man, woman, and child, to be slaughtered. This is he telling Lilithgo. And Lilithgo, when he heard this, saw this telegram, he said loudly that is he insane or has he become senile? Who would give this kind of advice And Lilithko once said that please do not come with your advice. British is fighting for their survival, and we know how to handle. But this was actually meant for advice to Hindus to play by the rules made by the bullies and the dictators, which we sincerely are doing to the best of our capacity without moaning and groaning. And then he said, a satyagrahi can never fail. I mean, he assumed he was draped in the mantle of infallibility, that I am the only person who can be right in any given circumstances or any given topic. Here comes 1940. Like other people, group of people in this country, Muslims also have the right of self-determination. This is said in 1940. If they have right to self-determination, then Hindus have the right to self-determination for the rest of the country, right? And then he says, we are living here as a joint family. Who is the family? Hence, any member has the right to get separated. Who can get separated? Nation is not a family, and a country is not Gandhi's property to be divided. And then he says, if majority of the Muslims of this country maintain that they are different nation, there's nothing common with the Hindus and other communities, there is no force on the earth that can alter their view. In other words, they cannot alter their view. We have to yield. On that basis, they demand partition must be carried out. If Hindus dislike it, they may oppose it. You see, what is this nonsense? It shows one thing, that he betrayed us. 1940, he had agreed to the partition. Actually, in a private meeting with Sheikh and Nehru, they had already decided in 1938, India will be partitioned. And till 1945, he was telling us that partition on my dead body. This is a grand betrayal of a nation who adored him and of a nation who followed him and are still blindfolded following him. Quit India movement. Look at this message. His directive was do or die. Now, the question is, there were wide-scale riots. He was arrested. All the leaders were arrested, sitting in the jail with libraries and cushy beds. And the rest of the people are caught in the mayhem. Railway stations were looted. Some trains were destroyed. Obviously, people said, do or die is Mahatma's order. Now, what are they going to do? Play sports with the British or die? Do what and die how? This is the question. It was interpreted by the Hindus and even Muslims that we are going to resort to violence and die in the process. Where is the question of doubt? Do what or die how? And then later on, he said, it is my fault to start with India. I take full responsibility. I have to double my austerities. As if doubling his austerities, torturing himself, that is what he was doing. Then that means that he's creating a vote bank to atone the sins of those who did something wrong. So his sermon to the dying and the hungry. People are marching in caravans like walking dead. And he says this whole thing. Look here, you are only a handful and we are in a vast majority. You are abusing us. I mean, in other words, Hindus should tell the Muslims, you want to unfurl your flag and we shall not say anything to you. In other words, you can unfurl your flag. We won't return your abuses. We shall not allow you to unfurl the flag, nor shall we salute the Pakistani flag. What is that? Say anything and not allow. By the way, the spelling of shall I let it remain. It's not my mistake or typo. This is what it originates. So if the Muslims had seen that in spite of your vast majority, you don't wish to fight them, but that on the other hand, you wish to be friendly with them, their conscience would have awakened and they would have become your friends. Wow, 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 how profound. The weapon of non-violence is mightier than the weapon of violence. So, I mean, this is the where he stood. True bravery consists in true ahimsa. At the moment you are guilty of committing very cowardly act. This is how he described Hindus. And this is what Hindus have become. He expected them to be guilty of violence, and therefore they became cowards. It is a perception. And now you see this thing is a moral compass, and he's criticizing the Bhagavad Gita, and he's criticizing the Sikh people and everybody in Punjab. And the important point was that the Congress party was insisting that during the partition so much violence is going on, he should go. And he said, okay, I'll go. But then he changed his mind because some Muslims died in Bihar. And he said that I'm going there. He would not go where actual violence was. He never went. He did not go to Mopla. He did not go to Noakhali. When he went, by the time everything was over. He did not go to Calcutta when there was Dara. In other words, he never went. Any procession where there was lathi charge, he was never there. And then he has the gall to tell us what we should be doing. So he said that every Hindu and every Sikh should resolve that he would die but never kill. Master Tara Singh says that Sikh shall kill. In my view, what he says is not proper. He should say that if they don't get what they want, they would die for it, even if they may be the only handful, and rest only when they had achieved their goal. He should not talk in terms of killing. I needn't go to all the way to Punjab to say this. In other words, he was going to say it, that I am not going, and this is the reason I am not going, but I'm telling you to face the death with open arms and gleefully. So this is the long and short. More of the same. Let's not be afraid of dying. He was the one who was afraid of dying every minute of the day. If we are to be killed, would we not rather be killed by our Muslim brothers? If a brother is killing me, he is no longer my brother. What is this kind of nonsense? Would a brother cease to be a brother because he has changed his religion? Most decidedly. He's not my brother. Moreover, do we not indulge in the same acts as they do? What have we not done to the women in Bihar? What did they do to women in Bihar? Nothing. The Hindus have done it, which means I have done it. You see, it's a matter of shame for me. And then March, I gave a date, a mosque was damaged. And this I also consider to be a devilish act. It is no justification to argue that the Hindus should damage the mosque. Because the Muslims were desecrated. In other words, Hindus should bind their hands or cut their hands, not see anything, not hear anything, just surrender, like goats in front of a tiger. Here is another good one. 20th June. Whom are we afraid of? Servants. The Muslims, if they become devils, first they were brothers, now devils. Let us become men, then they will also become men. This is a laugh. When I, a poor Bania, am not frightened. He was frightened to his bone marrow. A poor Bania, I'm not frightened. Why should you be? The worst they can do is to kill me. Let them kill me. I wish they had done at that time, right there and then. Then there would not have been probably the partition. Profound nonsense. And here again, his own words. Everything is his own words. Today, in a Hindu from Rawalpindi narrated the tragic events that had taken place there. A lot of women were paraded naked and violated, and a whole lot of cruelty. And he says the village around Rawalpindi have been reduced to ashes. The Hindus of the Punjab are seething with anger. The Sikhs say that they are the followers of Guru, who has taught them to wield the sword. But I would exhort the Hindus and Sikhs again and again not to retaliate. I make bold to say that if Hindus and Sikhs sacrifice their lives at the hands of the Muslims without rancor or retaliation, they will become the saviors, not only of their own religion, but also of Islam and the whole. What is the logic behind it? And if we have already given our life, what difference does it make our religion benefits, or the followers of Dharma benefit, or Islam? Who cares about Islam and other religions as a whole? Who cares? So this is pure. I couldn't find a better word than profound nonsense. Then he says, if an eye is taken for an eye, the whole world will be blind, which is quoted so many times. Untrue. The whole world will only be half blind, because you have taken an eye of a Hindu and a Hindu has taken the eye of a Muslim. So he is half blind and the other one is also. But even that will not be allowed to happen, because after one such incident of retaliation, they would stop. Bullies only understand the language of dand. Niti says your ultimate weapon is punishment. You have done appeasing, you have done gifting, and now the last thing to be done is punishment, eradicate them. And Chanakya at one point picks up a weed, which was thorny weed, and told Chandragupta when he was just about 10, 11 years old, that if there is one ankush, needle left in the grass, that will choke the entire grass and will be a thorn in everybody's feet. That is called niti. Did he ever do course correction? This was a question somebody asked me recently. He did not. Because if you don't understand what is the problem and you are countering the problem with the problem, how can you be finding a solution then? Using same game plan, expecting different results, is considered by normal people as insanity. Doubling his austerity, how does that matter? You see, it is like saying that if the doctor fails in the treatment he's giving, he must double the dose. How does that help? So Gandhi is kept now as a Mahatma on the pedestal on artificial respiration for Congress to cow down Hindus. So reign of the insane versus reign of the arrogant, self-righteous, living in a fool's paradise. The reign of the insane was Gandhi, reign of the arrogant, self-righteous, living in fool's paradise was Nehru. And this is the last joke, I think. Gandhi thought, first he decided that it should be Tiranga. Then he decided that on top, in a left-hand corner, there should be Union Jack on the Indian flag. And green should be on top. Why the green should be on top? Because green is the color of Muslims, white is the color of Christians, and saffron is the color of Hindus. That should be on the bottom. In between, there should be charkha, the spinning wheel, and in the corner, it will be the Union Jack. And of course, Ambedkar and everybody voted against that. He says, why Union Jack? Aren't we free now? And Gandhi said, they were kind masters to us. If they were kind masters, then why be fighting with them? Let them continue. In fact, probably in the long run, India was given to the Congress people as a matter of transfer of power, as if they got a gift to do whatever they wanted to do with it. So these kind of sayings, I tell you, literally, when I was researching, I felt sick. When I was writing this presentation, I felt sick. Gandhi set up an impossible, unpractical parameter for the behavior of Hindus and made them indecisive about their choices. Hindus have not recovered their self-esteem. A consequence of being faulted constantly. If a child is scolded constantly, that child would start believing that he's a failure. So it leads to self-abnegation, forced by a higher living God, made them helpless and inert, suffering under institutional dystrophy. This means that not only the Congress made them cowards, but all the institutions, communication, education, political institutions, social, everything made Hindus cowards and helpless. They became cognitively disabled to recognize the danger. You see, even an enemy knows instinctively or by reflex action that there is a danger and make a brave or bold choice. But no, we had to be three monkeys rolled in the fourth one. So three monkeys, Hindu should become one monkey who has the qualities of all the three monkeys. And that fourth monkeys are living, known as Hindu majority. They are like, they met the enemy, the lion foe. They heard him coming, recognized him, closed the ears, then walked away from him, hoping that by ignoring their resistance, enemy will vanish. And this is what most of my friends, it is very sad situation, people whom I consider that they would be curious to know what really was Gandhi doing to us and everybody. They should be, helping me write this thing or helping me with the research. But no, I was told that we are neutral. It spoils our mental peace. So facing the danger, you are not thinking of your mental peace, you are thinking of your very existence. So having said that, I think Iti Shri Gandhi Mahapurana Samaptam. So we are done. But I would really want you to read this small little book. It is available as PDF on the internet. May it please your honor. In 140 points of his why he killed Gandhi, entire history is given. You see, the prior 33 years from when he came to India. So what I did in 750 pages or so, Godse has done a better job of the first 200 pages in less than few pages. And I really want people to read that book. And it's free. So if there are any questions, doubts, I think by this time the wool should be off our eyes, and we should be forced to open our ears and know the danger. If you cannot protect yourself, how can you protect your family and your friends and your village and your nation? All right. Thank you very much for listening and for all these, I think, 20 sessions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kamlesh, for such a tremendous effort. And we are indebted to you for the knowledge that you have provided. I hope people, buy your book, read your book, and absorb the contents. And these 20 YouTube videos will help them, with that knowledge that they need. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. But today is the last session of the series, and we'll continue with Kamlesh in another series shortly.
Namaskar, Kamlesh. This is Nandi. I am amazed to hear what you said. I could hardly even dream these things. Now the thing is, you're talking about three animals and four animal, three monkeys. Three monkeys. What three? Who you mean by these three monkeys?
Yeah, he had three monkeys on his say no evil, see no evil.
Okay.
Yeah, one monkey had like this, the other monkey had like this, and the other one like this. So three monkeys was his kind of symbol like on the table. So he wanted us to be three monkeys. And unfortunately, those three monkeys are separate. The one who could hear, he could not see, but he could speak. The other could not see, but hear and speak. And each was not completely impotent. But we are the fourth monkey who combined all the qualities. See no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. So that are the fourth monkeys.
Kamlesh, actually, I'm amazed to find out how he was trained to become such a great devil. What was his upbringing, education? How did he acquire those kind of demonic qualities to fool not one or two persons?
You see,
whole
two
world
things happened. Sorry to cut you. Two things happened. One was that he was a puny little person and very egotistic. He lived in England with a priest family, and he became pseudo-Christian, his views. And he had not read any of the Hindu Shastra deeply. You see, I read like Bhagavad Gita some 100 times in 1987. But now I'm reading every day and I say, oh my God, I missed this point. You see, that is such a profound book that you read another 1,000 times and you understand. If you glance through it or you heard that Krishna was telling Arjun to fight, then you see you are missing the whole point, the background, the context. So this was one shaping his behavior and personality. Then his thrashing at the hands of those Pathans in South Africa, that made him a complete, because he was a very tiny person, bony person. Another incident, he would have died. You see, so his life was very precious. From that day onwards, till the end, he said that, Muhammad Ali, brother Muhammad Ali, brother Shaukat Ali, these were the guys who started the Khilafat Mopla rebellion. So everybody was brother. Brother Rashid, brother Sohrawadi, and Jinnah was forever his brother. My brother has given the word that Hindus will be saved. You see, you believe him. You believe your brother. And where is your own gut feeling? So many people, the psychologists I was reading, and I mentioned in the book also, that they say that childhood trauma makes or breaks a person. You see? So this was his earliest experience with Muslims. From that day onwards, if they said, put your head down, he would crawl on the floor. You see? So that was the second reason. And the third is when he came to India and he was declared, Mahatma, and there was a vacuum of leadership. Gokhale died, and other people were also part of the militant movement, Gadar party. So he found that the title is there, the pedestal is vacant. I established myself. And 1924, when he was made the sole spokesperson, the only spokesperson to deal with the British and make decisions for freedom of India, you see, that gave him total range, total power. And power makes people crazy. You see? This is a political saying, actually. Power corrupts people. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is Alexander Pope. He said that. So you can combine these four forces, or we can have a session on the psychology of Mahatma.
See, Kamlesh, I have a feeling, while he was in England, where he supposedly studied law, I think he was picked up by the intelligence, and they have brought him up in, the way they want him to be used later on. I don't think Gandhi had so much of power, but he had been supported by a very powerful regime, the governments and the ideologies and other supports. But otherwise, he was a very cowardly man.
He was given the power.
Yeah, he was given the power.
Yeah. You can take a fool to the palace and make him a king. He won't become a king. Fool will remain a fool. He will make all others part of the circus because they are all fools. And he wants them to be fools. So this is what happened, you see. So making of a person has a whole lot of evolutionary process. Evolution process is that action, reaction, spiraling, chain reaction, ripple effect. All of these immediate effects of karma, individual and social, they make or break the person. So who he was a deceitful, coward, power-hungry, egotistic maniac. At least that is what I gathered from his, these are a few speeches, but I read like quite a few volumes.
Yeah. See, this is what it is. Actually, he was demonic, not by his maybe own nature, but he was made into a demon because of the support and the power he has been conferred by other, like British and Islamic movements and, those.
It was just a combination of factors.
All combination.
Combination of factors, playing on his psyche, playing on his body.
Like the present Soros, he is creating the toolkits using different Indian intellectuals and the politicians. It was something like that. It was created by divisive forces. Okay, I think other people have a lot of things to say. So thank you, Kamlesh ji. I am so grateful that you have exposed the myth, so eloquently and so much of your time to do that. I really very much appreciate. Thank you very much, Kamlesh. Hope to keep you in touch with you in
Any
future.
other person, please? There is one.
Yeah, Auntie, this has been a very informative, very educational for me. I was already feeling, right, growing up in India and getting indoctrinated with Chacha Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi and this and that, right? Yeah, but I think after coming out, I started seeing them in a different light and slowly realizing how he was a friend of Britishers. Even when we saw movies like Udham Singh and Bhagat Singh, we started seeing the other angle. But I think your book totally exposes the person that he was. But I guess my question is, how did the other people like Hindus? So I can see why British were supporting him. I can see why Islamic movement was supporting him because he was helping them. But how come Hindus did not see his fraud and rise against that?
Our Hindus see it now.
Exactly. Exactly,
Yeah,
Kamlesh. That is your answer.
I took
yeah, it's
20
late.
years
Yeah,
to compile
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Are they talking about the book or what went wrong? We are still the same. Who
Yeah,
believed in him perfectly.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
in fact, in 1950, they make a movie, Das Avatar. And we all went to see. Dasma Avatar was Gandhi, up to Krishna and Balram. The 10th Avatar was, and they showed in India the map and Gandhi standing in between. So, if we are still blindfold, you see,
Exactly. Exactly.
there is a saying in Hindi and probably in English also, you can सोए को जगाया जाता है, जागते को कैसे जगाओगी?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that is there,
Look,
the bottom
look at
line.
this.
And the Hindus are still not waking up. They are
Yeah.
still exactly the same.
Right.
Follow the leader or criticize each other.
Yeah, look at these people, Hindus for human rights. What they're doing is unbelievable.
Was.
And it is not that, in the time of Gandhi, or whether it was the same thing is now. So this is very, very pathetic for Hindus. Hopefully, with Kamaleshji's book, people will read and try to understand, what they missed.
Well, if the entire country is not willing to spare 20
Yeah.
minutes
Right.
to listen to this, you
Yeah.
expect them to read the book.
Yeah.
Right.
I already bought 3 copies to give to people.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that it is a matter as existential
Right.
to the nation called Hindu
Right.
and to the Rashtra called Hindu.
Right.
If they are not awakening, what else? You can throw them in the pool,
Mm.
but they will still not,
Yeah.
you see.
Yeah.
So it is, I'm not going to speculate and spoil anybody's mood. I think we still, we have a renaissance going on. Let us
Yeah.
have a positive note.
Yeah.
We have renaissance going on. There is one person who took the responsibility of
Exactly.
making India what it had always been, and the
Yeah.
world recognizes, and we hope that this will continue.
Yeah, actually, Kamaleshji, you remember we started that WAVES conferences since 96. When I have been attending all these conferences almost, Uday Sharmaji started with the idea that he will create a big change by incorporating, say, the historians or intellectuals, 50% Indian and 50% American. But
It was going on up to 2018. I attended that one.
Yeah. But the thing is,
then COVID hit,
yeah.
and then everything became Zoom.
No, but
They
you
have
know,
not resumed in-person conference.
okay, no, what I'm saying, considering, the situation at that time, say back in 1996, 98, compared to that time and now, I see there is a lot of change in the ecosystem,
That
there
is
is a lot. So hopefully this will be kind of accelerating, with our great Prime Minister Modi. He has put everything in so much perspective. Now you can at least freely criticize anybody you want, but
yeah.
before, you know.
Can I say something?
There is a Punjabi saying, why he is facing so much of backlash and so much of, pulling the rug from under your feet. I think it is Haryanvi language. झूठे को झूठा मिले, झूठे को झूठा मिले, वाह 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 करो. Everybody will be, agreeing with each other because
Right.
they're not jhutas, liars. झूठे को सच्चा मिले, तुरंत लड़ाई होए. तुरंत लड़ाई होए.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Am I being heard? Can I say something?
जी,
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
anybody else?
Hello.
No?
Hello.
Yes.
Am I being heard? Can I say something?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. See, my name is R.K. Khosla. I am a brother of Kamlesh, and we are almost of the same age. Ever since I heard the name Partition, the legacy of M.K. Gandhi, I was so keen to buy this book, and I waited for it for about 6 weeks to get it, and then read word by word. More because I was also able to know what was happening at the time of partition, right from say August or even April, June, when it started, and when we were got shifted, and then so on and so forth. The amount of not that I am a brother, I'm telling this, but the amount of efforts put in and the narration of causes and events which led to all this, and then what happened till date, till the great grandfather, father of the nation, died, is so meticulously mentioned, so exhaustively dealt, that it is beyond words to express my gratitude.
Thank you.
I was thinking that how much of effort she would have put in to collect the data. Most of it she might be knowing, read, heard, listened, something, but beyond that also there is a lot of things to understand and learn, and then probably know how we can work on things, or the generation can work on things which presently is being practiced by Mr. Modi, and take advantage from the failures or the blunders or the mistakes, whatever we call it. Maybe those would have been good for those times, but not for today. And my dear, loving, respected sisters, I salute you.
Kamlesh,
Just it happened. I could
Kamlesh,
not have redone it. Took 20 years. I had
Kamlesh ji,
promised to my brother who passed away in 2015, and that I will finish. And I did it in his memory. It was a Herculean task.
Kamlesh ji, I'm little interested about, the three wives of Partition who died supposedly at childhood. Now, who are those three, wives, and why they died at childbirth? Not one or two, it's three. You have any kind of knowledge or understanding how it could have happened like that?
What is that? I missed
No, I'm saying that This Gandhi's father, Karamchand,
Oh, yes, yes.
he had
I saw
why
your letter.
Yeah.
That is nonsense.
no, why maybe
He
that
was the son of Karamchand Gandhi, who was a Butchi in a Riyasat, and Putli Bai was his mother.
uh,
When he went to England, she
uh,
made him take 3 vows that he will be vegetarian and brahmachari and whatever,
but
whatever. So, and none and call it. So, and these are facts. By stretching the imagination and speculating unnecessarily about their parentage, you don't gain anything.
no, but what about
What
his
matters is the damage he did and
uh,
how he did, the making of his personality,
yeah.
and what we can learn, how to move on. See, you are fallen to the maximum depth of a cesspool, and you have to come out of it. And you cannot use the same old logic or methods which have brought you in that. You can salvage. I used in the last sentence, in the last page maybe, I used this thing, that if a truck full of hay, which is meant for as a fodder for the cattle, it tilts and fall down. You see, in the upper part layer you can retrieve. It is still eatable. The middle part will be probably salvaged. The bottom layer can never be salvaged. So 70 years of injustice done, the tortures done to Hindus, and make them where who they are now, and place them where they are now. That damage, it will take a long time. But then you see, again, we have the right person.
Yes.
Right ideas.
Yes. So, it is it is true that it will be difficult. But see, we are trying to salvage our going back to thousands of years.
I would say impossible. I could not even dream that a person like Modi will be there in the horizon.
Yeah, that's true.
That impossibility came true. And it is very interesting that Chanakya, when he describes the perfect person, I use that is Sanskrit 4 lines. In the end, he says such a king will be Narendra, the best among the human beings. And he is Narendra. There are 2 great people born in 20th century, Vivekanand and Narendra Vivekanand.
Right.
And Narendra Modi. So, and he said that Narendra, Chanakya Arthashastra.
Okay, see, how is the foresight of the people, the sages and chiefs in our country? They predicted events which is hundreds of centuries, thousands of years. Thank you, Kamlesh. Hope to hear new grounds.
Next will be freedom from bias, and that will be the caste system.
Oh, yeah.
But it is not, because Hindus themselves are spewing so much nonsense. And there are a lot of Hindu groups in America.
Yeah.
Each is blowing his own trumpet.
He doesn't end the call. It goes on for 2 hours.
Yeah.
A little louder, please.
He doesn't end the call here when you're not here. It goes on for 2 hours. It's not.
Didn't hear.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other comment on the whole series? So because we have to now close it down. Okay,
think,
so we'll we'll end the series today, and then again next will be the topic. We'll circulate the invite. Hope everybody can join. So Kamlesh ji, thanks on behalf of Hindustan Republican platform, and it has been a privilege to host you here for the book. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Namaste.
Jai Hind, namaskar.
Jai Hind.
Namaskar, Kamlesh ji.
Namaskar.
Wish you all the best. Hoping to see you in the